What is up, ladies and gents? Welcome to the weekly Square Gamers podcast where two dudes talk video games. And I'm your host. I am Legendary Mike, also known as Mike Soto. And today we have, as always, Pedro Maribal. Bro, what is up, man?
What's going on, man? How did you fare out? How did you make out, after Hurricane Matthew?
How did I make out? I made out like a bandit, bro. I didn't lose power. I didn't lose nothing. But my heart does go out to all those other folks that lost power and much more than that. Make sure we keep them in our hearts and minds as they rebuild what was lost. Because there's a lot of places that got hit pretty hard, Dro. I don't know if you're looking. I mean, not just Haiti, but South Carolina and all up the coast. So keep them in your hearts and minds, guys. How did you fare?
Completely echo that statement.
How did you fare? Because I know you lost power. How long were you out of power?
So we lost power Friday. We got power back yesterday. So it's about 5 days without power in between. Volusia County was hit hard. Probably I think the hardest hit out of any other county, if I'm not mistaken. Had about 1 million people without power. So definitely took the electricity companies quite a while to get us back up and running. But the bigger travesty, and I use that word lightly, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is that I decided to rent out a game at Redbox. I said, you know what? This weekend seems like a Madden weekend. Decided to go through a season or two. I'm thinking it's gonna rain. I'll be in all day. Mafia isn't in the Redbox. I don't have gears. There's nothing else really that I want to play. Let me get some Madden in. I'll tell you what, man. I lasted a day and only played 2 games. The game cut out in the middle of me playing, and I haven't returned it since because I got power yesterday. So I've been charged $18 so far of Redbox charges, and I didn't get to play the game once. So that should be a pretty fun adventure to see what Redbox will do for me, if they do anything to compensate me or to allow me to not get away from paying them.
They're not gonna do nothing, bro. Like, but when did they charge you? Because if I remember correctly, Redbox would charge you at the end of like the rental. So basically, like if you never
when I turn it in, I'm gonna be like $21 in though. I'm gonna be $21 deep in a rental that I haven't played, that I legitimately got no playing time in. So I mean, I wonder if I call them before, maybe after, and say, hey, look, I was affected by Hurricane Matthew, and
well, yeah, maybe I can see where they can waive some of it. I hope they're not completely heartless either. But that sucks. You lost power. By the way, guys, today's a kind of a special show because it is Pedro's birthday. So make sure you guys in the comments say happy birthday to him. I don't know if you want me to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. My man.
Don't worry about it, because you know what? There's nothing else I'd rather do than sit in a room and talk video games with you.
Oh, Pedro. So sarcastic. I love you. Well, guys, we have some stuff to talk about.
There's nothing more sarcastic than that laugh.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, we can keep it moving.
But we have a couple things we want to talk about. Not too much going on in the gaming world. Only one big thing that we can actually have a debate upon. But before we get into that big topic of the week, we're going to talk Fallout 4, Skyrim, Bethesda, and PS4. A couple weeks back, they had a big, I want to say, argument because Bethesda's trying to push mods on the consoles. I totally agree with, because I've played PC games and my PC's crap. So I can't power these type of games on my PC. And I would love to play a Skyrim game or a Fallout game with mods, because mods add a lot of extra replay ability to games. Sony turned down their offer, or they're not allowing them. Well, just the other day, I guess they apparently worked it out. I don't know what was going on there. I can only speculate that maybe Bethesda was like, look, guys, we need you to help us with this. We need this open so we can implement this into your into the software for the PS4 version. Can you help us? And Sony was kind of like, no, we have too much to worry about. So I'm kind of glad that they changed their minds, because I don't know if you know, but the modding community for Skyrim is huge, Pedro. And I'm not sure if too many people who are actually console gaming knows how big mods are for Skyrim. I've seen mods for Skyrim that makes your character have Goku's powers, bro. Like, how dope would that be, flying around an open world game and hit a fucking dragon with a Kamehameha, bro? Like, that's fucking dope. I'm sorry. You might not agree with me, but that's fucking dope. Okay, so I know you're not. I know you're this. You know, the modding thing isn't for you, but do you agree with me when it comes? It's a kind of a good step forward, considering that it's giving us a little taste of the master race.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this was a huge PR just debacle for Sony in so many ways, because number one, this news came fresh off of a PS Pro, PS Slim reveal that, you know, wasn't very well received. People were kind of iffy on whether or not they were going to go with some of these next generation consoles, quote unquote. The chips were low on Sony's side, and then they got this, you know, they got this bit of news that made it even worse, because not only are you releasing consoles that in a consumer's mind you shouldn't really have to release since you're winning, but now you're also, you know, taking away from a gamer's experience because you don't want to allow mods when the competitors allowing them, which gave Microsoft the upper hand for a couple weeks, because they were like, look guys, PlayStation Pro doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray player. We do. We've got 2 terabytes hard drive on ours. We don't come with a terabyte hard drive. Oh, and mod support, we got it. Come get an Xbox One S, and you know, play games the way you want to be played with mod support. I mean, I think that was a huge. I think it hurt Sony more than a lot of people thought it would. The reason being because they eventually backtracked and are now allowing mods.
Well, yeah, it just makes them look bad. To be honest with you, they should have just agreed to it from the beginning. But even in bigger news, well, not really bigger news, but it's another icing on the cake. 4K resolution for PS4 with Skyrim now, with the PS Pro. Bro, do you realize how fucking good this game is gonna look in 4K? Like, I know you're not the biggest, you know, open sandbox Fallout type Skyrim game, but this, I mean, for the 4K TV guys, this is gonna be amazing looking in 4K. I can just imagine, you know, just looking at the dog and being able to pick out one specific hair. Oh man, it's exciting. Too bad I don't have 4K TV, unless I can get a hookup. Put the word in for me, Joe. Thank you.
I mean, I gotta get the hookup first, and then I'll let you know.
Yeah, just let me know. Just let me know.
All right.
But we're gonna move on, guys, to the elephant in the room, or as I like to say, the biggest news. Sony VR is releasing tomorrow, which you guys will hear this Friday morning. Sony VR. I'm not the biggest VR guy. It's not my cup of tea. But looking at Sony VR, for what it's giving us, it's a quality experience. I'll go into it. It's releasing tomorrow, tomorrow on the 13th, I believe. They have some pretty good launch titles. The only bad thing I see coming out of this VR launch, Pedro, is the needing of PS Move and a PS camera. Now, at $399 for a VR headset is hell of competitive. Like, because you got the HTC Vive, which is $799, and then I think the Oculus Rift is an extra $100. So for half the price, you're getting a decent VR headset. The thing I see a problem with is, I don't know if you guys know, but PlayStation VR, they announced a bundle through a couple companies. Best Buy is the biggest one to mention. For $4.99, you can get the Move camera, or the PlayStation camera and the headset, but you can't find it anywhere. It's completely sold out. Everywhere I've looked, it's sold out. So, didn't want is there. But it's exciting because now people like us, Pedro, who can't afford $800 headset and another $1,400, another $1,000 PC or rig to run it, this is quite affordable, and I can only imagine what the actual third party developers are going to be able to do with this if they decide to go with it, because the market's there now. If PlayStation's bundle is completely sold out, I can imagine how, the amount of money that can be made, especially from, half the market is people like us, where we're basically buying a few games, a year, maybe 5 or 6 games a year. What do you think? What's your take on this this price point?
$3.99 for VR, I think, is a sweet spot, to be honest with you. Problem with VR, and it's all the way around. You need another device to play with it. So honestly, it's not $3.99, man. It's actually $7.99, because you got to buy a console, and then you got to buy the VR, or you got to buy a computer, and then you got to buy the VR. Now the price difference is about $500, I think, from a PSVR to an HTC Vive, and an Oculus.
Okay,
so the barrier to entry is still pretty high, bro.
But I mean, there's so many PS4 on the market. It would probably be PS4 users that are thinking about purchasing it. Not only considering a lot of PC gamers already have a console alongside their PC. Not all of them, but I do know some hardcore PC, the PC Master Race guys that I've known personally. They still have a console as well. So you're telling me, looking at it from an actual standpoint of where you got to buy the whole shebang. So you got to buy the PlayStation 4 and the VR, the Move, and the camera. Yeah, I can see it's gonna be like, what, $900 if you actually think about it, because the PS4 right now you can buy at $299, so that's $300, and then an extra $500 for the VR bundle, because if you try to buy each individual piece, you're gonna be spending an extra $100. So is that what you're trying to get at?
You're right. I'm not gonna argue with that.
Okay, good. But I mean, have you looked at the launch games? Because, bro, Batman Arkham VR, brother. Like,
I'm very interested in that game. I haven't been able to personally play it. Hopefully, I'm thinking that between now and Christmas, I might be able to get my hands on a PSVR and actually experience, Batman in VR. But I'm honestly, the games that are out right now, I'm really not interested in terms of VR as a gaming platform. I'm more interested in VR as an entertainment consumer, like a way to consume my entertainment. So I'm more looking at it towards the 4K, or the VR YouTube, the VR Netflix application, things like that that's coming out. So
Hulu's probably the biggest name on there, to be honest with you. Hulu customers that have get the VR are in for a treat. But when you have, okay, I'll go down the list real quick, guys. We have the 100-foot robot golf. Looks like crap. I've seen pictures. I've seen some video of it. Battlezone looks like crap. Bound looks like crap. Drive Club VR is supposed to be out on launch day, but I haven't heard too much else about it. Drive Club VR would be a lot of fun, but I don't know how well that would look and run, considering it's like a freaking racing game with 12 to 18 other cars on the actual track. Eve Valkyrie, that game looks really cool. That's the I believe the mech game. Harmonix Music, who cares? Hustle Kings VR, which is a billiards game. That game wouldn't look like, if I had the VR, that'd be a cool game to play. You got the VR demo disc, which comes, I believe, with 18 demos or 12 demos of games being released and games upcoming release. Super Hypercube. That game looks pretty cool. It's like a 3D Pong. Then we have Thumper. It's okay. It doesn't look that great. Until Dawn, Rush of Blood. It's a demo. It won't be out for another month or so, I believe. And Wayward Sky.
That seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, Until Dawn does seem kind of interesting. I agree with you there. But that's it for the launch titles. I mean, they have plenty of games coming out within, the next 2 or 3 months. But for initial purchase on launch day, I don't think it's worth the $400 unless you're into VR and you want to be ahead of the curve or you want to be on the edge of technology. If you can find a bundle or you have all the other equipment, go ahead and get it. And I mean, it's if you have all the equipment you need and you just need the VR headset, you can find them out there. I found a few earlier today. Granted, I don't know if they're still there, but it's for what it is. It's solid. I mean, I'm not gonna buy it, but you guys have my opinion. If you're into the VR, go ahead and get it. I mean, there's no reason not to, other than not being able to find one because Best Buy is completely sold out of the bundle. So I can imagine the actual headsets are probably gone too, because people don't want to wait.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add to that VR? Because I know I know you like living on the edge of technology, considering VR isn't really your thing either. But we talked about Google Daydream last week, and granted, these are two different things. Now, how do you think Google Daydream and this will compete, considering that Google Daydream is more of a mainstream thing? Do you think the PSVR and Google Daydream will combat a little bit, being the low end VR?
No. They each serve a different purpose. Google Daydream is not a primarily a gaming device. This is for PSVR. It's something that will push gaming to a different level. Will allow you to be immersed in whatever world the developer wants you to be. Wants you to be in. As far as Google Daydream is just another way for you to experience, their Google applications and things like that. So it's two different goals. I think that Sony's using it more to kind of expand the video game genre or the video game sector, and Android is just using VR as a way to kind of allow the consumer to entertain themselves in a different way, or in a way that allows them to have, let's say, like a home theater like experience while on the road. I mean, you can strap on a Google Daydream visor in public on a bus and be watching stuff like you're watching it on the on your big screen TV, which I don't recommend. Please, guys, don't use VR in public.
Yeah,
don't do
it. I don't want another Pokemon Go, guys. I don't want you guys going somewhere you shouldn't be going. Okay, guys? Let's learn from Pokemon Go. Well, despite of what's been going on in the phone industry, guys, with the Samsung Galaxy Note, we thought we'd bring up something and bring something to your attention and get some opinions other than ours. The big, Samsung Galaxy Note recall with the exploding battery, the freaking memes everywhere, Pedro, like, we're out of grenades, throw the Note 7, or fucking the new one, the Grand Theft Auto one, where the guy throws his Galaxy Note 7 down at the ground and fucking blows up a car that drives by. Now, for you guys who don't know, the actual Galaxy Note 7 were sold with defective batteries. They were catching on fire and basically blowing up. Now, here in the States, if I remember correctly, Pedro, if I'm not, correct me, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, all the big carriers in the U.S. stopped carrying the phone completely, correct?
Yeah.
So the Samsung company is in a huge problem right now because their biggest, one of their biggest phones this year, they can't sell. No one's going to buy them. Releases in several other countries have been delayed to the end of the month. And there's still no clear sign of the batteries being fixed. Correct? Am I hitting that
So
right?
they thought it was a battery, and then it turns out it's not the battery because they shipped them with new batteries, and they continue to blow up. So honestly, Samsung doesn't know what's wrong with their phones. They don't know why they spontaneously combust, and that's a bigger issue. That that's the bigger underlying issue is they don't know where the problem lies, whether it's a part that they use, or maybe it just isn't engineered properly. Maybe it doesn't handle heat the way it should. Something in that phone is what's causing the combustion. They don't know what it is, and frankly, it's embarrassing. Now so what they've done so far, like you said, is all major carriers aren't selling them. They've halted production on the phone. They haven't shipped it out to any other countries, and now they're thinking of getting rid of the Note 7 altogether, which would cost them a $17 billion loss in sales as a result of them dropping the Note line for the rest of this year. Early estimates say that it could take them up to the release of the Samsung Galaxy S8 to figure out what's wrong with the Note 7. So they should just stop manufacturing and just worry about the Samsung Galaxy S8 and make sure that comes out with a flawless release.
Which is extreme. I'm laughing, guys, but it's extremely funny because these companies do these things where it seems like they don't do any testing or anything, because why would a phone be shipped with this defect? And granted, it's not affecting every phone, but it's affecting enough to where they're losing that much money. I mean, what was it, like $8 billion alone in just what they expect to come back?
Yeah.
Like, what are they doing? Like, they made $1 trillion last year, or last quarter, or last year. They're telling me that they don't know to test their phone before they fucking put them out. Like, Samsung's got burnt, just like all the people who phones blew up on them. Good for them. I'm sorry to sound like an asshole here, but these companies that sell these phones know people go out and flock to buy these phones. They need to be tested. There were people who got hurt. There's people who didn't get hurt, but there's people who got hurt. Which kind of brings a weird side note here. Just a couple of years ago, with the Xbox 360. You want to take this one, Pedro? Because I got affected by one. I got a defected Xbox. There was no recall, no nothing. But I survived with the trick. I wrapped my box inside of a towel, turned it on for about 20 minutes, turned it back off, took the towel off, let it cool down, and fucking console worked. And I would have to do that every couple months.
How many Xboxes did you have during the lifespan of the Xbox 360?
I had two. Well, the original one is when I had the red rings of death, and then eventually I ended up buying I want to say the Slim. I think it was that smaller version I ended up buying. That was years ago though.
All right, well, your story's boring. So I went through 5 red rings of death. Sent it back to Texas 3 times. Yeah, because at that point I had one, my brother had one, my sister had one. We all got the red rings. Then we had to buy the arcade edition to replace it because there was nothing wrong with the hard drive. But that console, man, that beginning console was so bad. They said at some point they had like a 70% failure rate, which is terrible. That should have definitely been recalled, and like we should have gotten refunds or just been able to trade it in without an issue. But Instead, we just ended up giving the company more money because the console was just that good.
That and this is why you mention it, guys, is because with this Samsung, this Note 7 recall with the blown up battery, it brought it up in our minds the Xbox, crap, the huge red ring of death back in the 360 days when it first came out. Now, what makes it different that we're able to completely disregard Microsoft's misstep with the Xbox 360 to now the Galaxy Note 7? In my opinion, yes, my first Xbox was the defective one, and I figured a way around it. I got lucky. It didn't work for everybody, but it worked for me. Now, it is mind-boggling to think about it in such a way, but why did we look over it, considering, like, Pedro gave his story, 3 different Xboxes, so 5 different Xboxes completely for Red Rings of Death, wasn't given any money back, just basically send me your console and we'll replace it. So basically what I believe they were probably doing was probably taking the Red Rings of Death Xboxes, refurbishing them, putting new parts in them, and sending them back out. Is that legit? Do you agree with me there? What was in the Xbox? What was in that era that just completely made us disregard such a bad thing? We just completely overlooked it. I mean, yeah, it was all over the place, but why wasn't the taste bad enough to where it made me buy a PS4 for that reason? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I get it, and I mean the biggest difference is that the iPhone 7's out, and people really, really like the iPhone 7, and they're super intrigued by it. So when you give someone the opportunity to say, all right, you made this investment with the Note 7, it's too dangerous for you to have it, come bring it in, and you say, okay, cool, so there's no other phone that Android has to offer that even touches the Note 7, so I'm going to try out this iPhone 7 and see how it works for 2 weeks or whatever the grace period is for your carrier, and then you end up really, really liking it. Microsoft never gave us that option. It was, oh, you've got the Red Rings of Death, send it into us. Oh, the warranty's expired and you got the Red Rings of Death, too bad, go buy another console. And by that time, you were so entrenched in the Microsoft ecosystem that you didn't even want to look at PlayStation. So when you have all your friends, you've got these video games that you're playing that you probably haven't finished because your Xbox died. You just say, okay, I'm gonna spend $100 to get the Xbox Arcade Edition with no hard drive and just stick the hard drive in to the new console, or I'll go buy the Elite console, or I'll go buy the Xbox 360 Slim. I'm not gonna go to the competitor because they've already got this entrenched. They've already got They've got me shackled to this brand, number one, and number two, they've already come out with a worthy replacement that actually, works, and it doesn't, essentially, for lack of a better term, blow up in your face.
Exactly.
Like Samsung did with the Note 7.
It's kind of intriguing to put them together because on one hand, the Note 7 side, Samsung is going to take a huge loss, not only for the reason that there's competition out there. You have all these pretty dope phones coming out here soon, and Samsung is not going to have any phone out there to debut up some of the market share. Now, we just mentioned that with the Xbox 360, where when the Xbox 360 came out, that was the gaming console you could buy. It had all the games. Because Sony for some reason thought it'd be cool to put a specialized chip in it, so developers had a hard time creating games and vice versa. A big problem going on in PS3, so people didn't buy it. So when there's no competition, we're completely blind to missteps that companies do, and it brings me the same thing with the Note 7. Xbox must not have tested their console enough to know about the Red Rings of Death, or if they even tested it at all, considering other than the actual, the project box or the original like test box they came up with for developers. So, the one thing I can see is when you have competition, we're a little more, we're a little more, we're less hesitant to just stick with it than we are when we don't have any competition. So I'm kind of interesting, it also brings up the point where PS4 came, PS4, Xbox One was announced and released. Other than Microsoft's, huge misstep with the DRM and other things, and Sony taking advantage of the fact that Sony was Xbox was trying to push the envelope too much, and Sony went in for it and Pitbull locked on their jaw and kind of shook it till it fell apart. So that do you think that the Red Ring of Death put a bad taste in enough people's mouth to where going into the next console generation they were already looking to buy Sony's next, or were there more people like me where I wasn't so hesitant because of what Xbox has done in the past with the Red Rings of Death, but more about what console gives me the best bang for my buck? So what do you think? How did you look at it going into E3 4 years ago when they were announcing and releasing the new consoles that we're playing now?
Well, I mean, I've gone on record saying I made the mistake of buying the Xbox One when everyone else bought the PlayStation 4. I mean, one of the biggest reasons people bought the PlayStation 4 was because of the $100 difference. I don't care what anybody says. In hindsight, everyone's going to say, oh my God, the console's much more powerful. I chose it because it's more powerful. No, you didn't, guy. You were an Xbox 360 owner, just like the rest of us. You were loving the Xbox ecosystem, just like the rest of us. And you got the console because it was $100 cheaper. Now, do I believe that people held off on purchasing the Xbox One console just to see if there were any major recalls? You better believe that a lot of people did that. Myself in particular, when I purchased the Xbox One, I legitimately don't pray for a lot, but I prayed that this one stayed alive, man, because I did not want to go through the same issue that I did with the Xbox 360. To me, it's unacceptable that you got to buy five of the same console in what, 5 years, 10 years? It's terrible.
I agree. But just for the record, guys, there's like anywhere from, at that point there was like 12 of us in this like tightly knit group that play games together. Pedro and I are the only ones that bought the Xbox One on release day, and I wasn't so much thinking about Red Rings of Death or faulty equipment. I wasn't thinking about that when I bought the Xbox One. The biggest thing that kind of pulled me to there was the fact that it's more comfortable for me. The online experience, the actual interface, that was more comfortable for me. The actual Red Rings of Death wasn't really in my mind. Granted, PS4 was a more powerful system at a cheaper price, but when it first released, the Xbox One was a hell of a console, bro. I mean, we enjoyed some Rise, and to the point where just the other day we seen some Rise footage on my gamer account on Xbox Live. I actually got to watch some of the old clips, bro, of us double executing people, bro. I mean, we had a lot of fun. So to me, the fun part, what could be fun, kind of overdrawn that whole aspect of the Red Rings of Death. But the DRM did get me. It kind of threw me off, but with me, I'm more lenient when it comes to stuff like that, just for the simple reason I think things more reasonably. I don't tend to get angry and punch you in the face. I get angry and walk away and then punch you in the face later on that day. So, that just describes me a little bit. So, Pedro, do you think that with the new consoles coming out for the Xbox One, the new Xbox console, the new Sony console, how do you think that's going to go? Knowing, talking what we talked about now, the new Microsoft console, the Scorpio, it's coming out next year. It's going to be more powerful than the PlayStation Pro. Tables are turning. Do you think people are still thinking about faulty equipment now, even with the Sony Pro? Granted,
it should be top of mind, bro. That should be the first thing that you're thinking about when you purchase something new. And honestly, I think that's why a lot of people kind of allow others to be early adopters, because they go through the struggles of faulty equipment, and maybe software doesn't work and needs a couple updates before it works properly, and et cetera, et cetera. Samsung brought that back front and center in a way that is shocking to me. Now, every time I buy a phone, I have to be worried that this could be, that it could be recalled, that it could have a legitimate issue. And with Samsung, the brand itself, I don't know if I'm gonna get an S8. I don't know if I'm gonna, I don't know if I'm going to continue going with Samsung, because if they themselves can't, reverse engineer a phone and find out what the issue is, then, I know I'm not going to be able to. And I don't want to be carrying a Samsung phone, in 100-degree weather day in my car when everything is hot and I've got a low battery and I plug it into the charger and the thing blows up because it's hot, because it's 100 degrees in there. And I have no tint in my car, so the sun's blaring inside.
Oh, yeah.
And you plug it into the charger, and I'm trying to play music at the same time, and the phone's hot, so then it just explodes while I'm driving down the highway. Terrible. Terrible, bro. I think that this is gonna last. I think that this is gonna be the downfall of Samsung. I think that Motorola, LG, HTC, and Google's own device, the Pixel, they need to step their advertising game up. Let people know, hey, look, when you trade in your Note 7, go to a different Android device, because Android is not Samsung. You know what I mean? Android is just an operating system like Microsoft does with Windows, that allows other manufacturers to use it to power their hardware.
So an extra question, while it's fresh on my head. Okay. Now, do you think it's possible? I don't think Apple's going to do it, so we're going to leave this out of it. LG, Motorola, HTC, do you think they have the balls to go, okay, T-Mobile, say for instance T-Mobile, hey, look, whenever someone brings back their Note 7, give them an extra $100 discount on the new phone?
No, absolutely. I think that that's what they should be doing, and I'm gonna assume that someone's gonna do it eventually. I think that Verizon customers in particular are probably going to get pointed towards the new Google Pixel, since it is an exclusive for now to their brand. If you pre-order, you get a free Daydream headset. You get a $200 gift card if you go and pre-order at Best Buy. There's definitely incentives. The LG V20 is going to come out in about a week. That's definitely going to have, $100 off, $100 gift card, maybe extra accessories, this, that, and the other. The good thing about this is that you can't find the good, quote unquote, version of the iPhone, which is the iPhone 7 Plus. That you still can't find in stores. So if people come looking for a phone around the size of the Note and have to settle for a 4.7-inch iPhone 7 and think that it's too small, come back and say, yo, this phone is tiny as hell, I need something else, then that's when your LGs, your Motorola's, your HTCs end up winning, because they pick up a customer. I think crazy. That LG is in the driver's seat though, because they have a new phone coming out, which is supposed to be a beast in that V20.
Well, it's funny, but I actually have a G4 right now, and it's an older phone, but I fucking love it, bro. It's legit. I don't think I'll ever go back to Samsung, whether or not the Note 7 blew up on me, but Samsung made it easy for me not to go back to them, because you gotta remember, guys, I have a family, so when stuff like this happens, my daughter says to me, Dad, I want the new Samsung. Or my wife goes, babe, I want the new Note 7. I can't buy it, because at the end of the day, if it's not safe to use, I can't purchase it. It's just the way it has to be looked at. But I do hope LG puts that new phone on sale, Pedro, because that phone, if you're hyped about it, I know it's fucking good. So I'm going to have to do some research when we get off here.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, dual camera, high end, DAC inside the phone to make audio sound much better. Headphone jack, of course.
Not the lightning shit.
Yeah, not the lightning garbage. I mean, the screen is dope. Battery life looks dope. It's got a dope. It's got a ticker on the top where you can make that look that either should be your notification shade or whatever the case may be.
Oh wow!
And show different things. It's pretty cool.
Well, guys, I think that's about all we got this week. Pedro, you want to do the plugs?
Oh, yeah, real quick. Moral of the story is the reason why Samsung is suffering and Microsoft isn't. Number one, Samsung has better competition than Microsoft did at the time. And number two, us as video gamers, man, we suffer through these things and continue to give them a chance. We've got, what do they call it? Stockholm Syndrome.
Oh, Stockholm Syndrome, bro. That's a little crazy, don't you think? That's a little too comparative.
No, that's technically what gamers do, man. They're just kind of shackled in with, horrible console manufacturers, but love them anyway.
Xbox kicks me in the nuts 5 times, but I buy one.
Congratulations to Mike Perry for winning his fight on Saturday in England. That was super dope. So congratulations to him. Check us out on Twitch. Check us out on YouTube. We've got our first review out for No Man's Sky. Jay and Nate did a great job reviewing No Man's Sky, so definitely check that out. Check out Mike's daily series, traversing through the Dark Souls world. If you're up for a challenge, watch him play. Listen to him get frustrated because he barely ever shows emotion, but he does on that show. Definitely subscribe, like, and subscribe to our podcast. And last but not least, join our group on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/The Square Gamers. Let's talk gaming the rest of the week, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, just so you guys know, I will put all that information down in the description when you're listening, when you're at the podcast main screen. The links will be in the description, so make sure if you need anything Square Gamer related, look there. There'll be all the links you need. So guys, this has been a Square Gamers podcast. We love you guys. We're gonna go get shit-faced drunk, hopefully Pedro's birthday, see if I can convince him. But guys, it's been great. Peace out.
Peace.